WIFTBPM.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio, you're listening to The Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin.
Let's begin now.
What's going on, everybody out there? I
can't hear you, bro.
T, are you there, T? Can you hear me? Well, until we get T locked in and loaded, man, you are officially on the soil rocking with the bigs. I am Eugene McIntosh, one half of the illest sports media outlet all around the land. We back down, man. Trying to see what happened to T. We're going to have to get him locked back in as soon as he touches back down on the soil with me. Got my boy Jared in here holding it down, trying to get everything locked and loaded so we can get to it. Happy to be here on this Inauguration Wednesday. I know y'all, a lot of people probably still out there logged on, tuned in to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the whole shindig going on right now. I took a little look at it earlier, and there he is. Let's see if we can get T back in the building. Let's see. I got you. Let's see. T, you there? Hold on for a second. I got you. There we go. T, you there? Yo. We having some technical difficulties. T, can you hear me? Let's see if we can get it going on the other end. Meanwhile, I'm listening to Billy Donovan and on the Bulls media press conference. T. Hold on, y'all. We trying to get it together out here. Let's take a quick break, man. When we come right back, we'll have everything locked and loaded for y'all. Stay tuned. Continue to rock with the bigs, and we'll be right back.
Asiatic black man, maker, owner, cream of planet Earth, father of civilization, and god of the universe. Not the planet, of the universe. And then they said, and nothing is spooky? Now that's spooky.
Yeah. Check it. Look, so I play the dark, play at the start, play my part better than a good kid, play at the park. Stay away from the knock, unmarked and undercovers. Cops, police, whoever after the brothers. Uplift black mothers, encourage the dare to stay. What you wanna do tomorrow starts from the day. Before you get paid, how much you gotta pay? Long with dudes, get it right, don't be confused, keep cool. Cool is something you need to keep. Keep the heat is real, but don't be hot in the streets. Streets is watching, police popping everybody off, cause the rats speaking and talking. Too often it happens like black on black crime. Another brother killed with time like flat last. Too many women giving brain, now they lack mass. Too many artists in the game with rap raps. So these dope tracks, nigga, dope raps. Hey, play this, get some all that. Yeah, play this, get some all that. Go, play this, get some all that. It's just hip hop, black facts. Play this, get some all that. Yeah, play this, get some all that. Okay, play this. Check it, look, the guy conscious open the ass in the morning. Open mouths get fed till when he no yawning. On the Blackberry storming, cautious as a warning. Bullets leave you wet when it's raining, it's pouring. Hope you ain't snoring, sleep in peace. Food for thought, don't get fed to the belly of the beast. Don't be the feast, infected like yeast. Snitches' tongues get cut out, they're saying the least. However, I speak my pieces if I talk with a gun. Hotter than the devil when he walk in the sun. Go get it, get the money if he walk in the run. Don't matter long as outcome, run income, get it done. What need to be done, go do it, nigga.
Flo, I just checked and everything is working on my end. I just, reconnected the Bluetooth and connected it back. It's working. Everything's turned up on my side.
Play this, get some all that. It's just hip hop, Black facts. Play this, get some all that. Nigga, play this, get some all that. Bitch, play this, get some all that. Yeah. TAC. Huh. The high end conscious. You was cool. True Hill Crusaders. Let's go.
to the Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin.
He's bare chested, banging it.
Right here on What's in It for the Black People Meet. Now let's see if we are officially back down on the soil. T, you with me?
We are officially back down on the soil, bro.
There he is. Now we can officially welcome the family members to the building. Shout out to the guy Jared back there doing all the hard work, making sure that we can make this thing official. I am Eugene McIntosh, one half of the illest independent sports media outlet there is in this whole entire land. On location, I got my player partner, T. Tom, the great Terrence Tomlin. T, what's good, brother?
It's all good, man. Happy to be back locked in on the soil. Uh, Happy to be back talking to my brother Gino. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. I'm still from a remote location, but I'm ready to get it in, bro.
Man, it's all good, man. Better on location than not on location. You feel me on this inauguration Wednesday, man? You over there watching the festivities or what, man?
They are in the background. The only thing I really saw was Donald Trump leaving the building. I was up listening to Mays and watching Donald Trump leave the building at the same time this morning. And the only thing I really want to make sure I see is the speech from our boy Moses' cousin.
You missed it.
I saw, yeah, I missed it, but I was able to see a segment on her preparation for it yesterday,
Okay.
and I know it's all over Twitter right now. So that after we get done, that's the first thing I want to make sure I see. But yeah, man, I was just telling my girl that it's crazy that it's another inauguration day. I remember what, like 8 years ago now, when Obama got inaugurated for the first time,
Hell no, that
and
wasn't
I
eight
was
years ago. That was
how many
2008, brother.
2000, so what? Yeah, his first year was 2008.
Right.
Well, I was a sophomore in college, and I know my family had a big shindig. It was a big family get together and all of that. And this year, I slept past most of it this year. So
Yeah, man. It just seems like every inauguration is like the same set. Well, obviously it's the same setup, but it feels like the speeches are the same. I feel like these guys go through some sort of media training before they take the stage because all of the speeches sound exactly the same. So, um, I don't know, man. I see a lot of people. I'm looking at all the timelines and Facebook and Twitter, and I'm seeing a lot of tweets and a lot of messages. People are happy, and I understand why people are happy because Donald Trump has had his last days in office and his last days as the head of the United States. But I mean, people are tweeting and sending these messages like
yeah,
we been freed from slavery or like we free now. And I just
yeah.
again, I'm
I,
not trying to
ma-
rain on nobody's parade. It's a new
oh
day.
no,
It's a new day. Shout out to Joe Biden. Shout out to Kamala Harris. I see all the ladies, and I see the hashtag Chucks and Pearls. I don't really know where that came from. I didn't do the knowledge to it. Didn't really care to, but I'm just happy to see people, overjoyed and ready to see
hmm
what's next, man. I'm interested to see what's next.
I'm definitely interested to see what's next. But that's actually something that I know. Me and you always have spirited conversations about is the reaction from Black people when it comes to symbolism and representation. And that's another part of the conversation I was having before we jumped on air, bro. Is that I can't front. I'm actually happy to see Black people happy. I mean? I see the Chucks, I see the AKAs representing. I see the HBCU alumni people representing. Because she has the Howard, Howard University in her past, which is something new. Which is something new. Like nobody's ever been in the White House and they walked on Howard's campus. That's something that I feel like is cool. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at any black person that's like, hey, that's cool. You know what I mean? And I'm not even mad at the black people that think it's corny. You know what I mean? Black people are not, you know what I mean, this uniform, way. They don't have this uniform way of thinking. I'm not mad at the people that are celebrating. I'm not mad at the people that think it's corny. I'm not mad at the people that say, hey, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I'm not really feeling the celebration vibes. Because of course you see it's John Legend, John Bon Jovi. They got Justin Timberlake performing later.
No, I'm
So
good. I'm
I
good.
feel like I'm extra good on that, but I feel like they're reaching to find some sense of normalcy, which I feel like it's definitely been a wild ass 4 years with Trump. You know what I mean? It was crazy seeing him fly away, of course, in his untraditional manner. What other way could he leave?
Straight up.
But yeah, man, what I mean? I know it's a lot of black people out here that's just happy that Trump is gone. So, hey,
Yeah.
however you feel today, do your thing. But like we said on election day, when it was clear that Joe Biden won, it's like, okay, what is next? What do we do now? And people got to stay applying the pressure, from day one.
No doubt. I agree 100%, man. It really doesn't matter to me because I'm going to keep on pushing, continue to push forward in my daily life, continue to spread love and show love. And that's really all I can control, man. I'm not really looking for a government who's failed us as long as I've been around to do something new for us. So, again, like you said, to everybody out there, whether you're hating or whether you're happy or if you're somewhere in between in a gray area, man, I'm happy for you, but let's continue to make our own strides and let's continue to look within self, aspire higher, hold ourselves accountable, and that's really all I gotta say, man. I can't lie, I'm gonna miss Donald Trump, man. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss his tweets, man. He was one of the greatest tweeters of all time. But he did do something on his way out that you gotta look back. It was probably the overlay for the underplay or the underplay for the overlay, however you want to refer to it. But you see that he freed the guys, man. He freed Harry O, the
Kodak
founder of Death
Black,
Row, Kodak Black, ASAP,
Wayne.
Lil Wayne, Kwame Kilpatrick. But he didn't free Larry
Yeah,
Hoover and Jeff Fort, man. I don't know what's up with that, man.
you know what? I totally did not expect him to go that far into the bag. And, those dudes are locked up for different reasons.
Man, he
And
gotta let them, man. He's supposed to let them guys rotate, man. Larry, Jeff Ford, and Big Meech was supposed to be the last three. He let the chick from Rat Nation, Desiree Perez, he let her out.
wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, Rat
I
Nation.
see he ain't let our boy Joe Exotic out. Joe Exotic had the limousine waiting outside,
Man, they
and he
petty,
gonna end up
man.
having to do his time.
Man,
So
come on, man.
hey, what happened to C Murder and BG? We couldn't get them too.
Come on, man. Come on, Donnie.
So I'm
Yeah,
sure
man.
Donnie is itching to get back to tweeting or some type of social media platform. You see,
Oh
the
no,
one crazy thing he say I'm gonna be back in some kind of form or fashion. So
yeah, he better start his own TV station or something because he's been banned from every social media outlet. He's been banned from just about any possible thing you can be banned from. So I'm looking forward to his next caper, but I'm also looking forward to him pardoning self. Can he? Oh my bad. Let me hit mute. Can he pardon self when he's brought up
he
on
will not
charges?
anymore. Not anymore, because he's not president anymore. So I don't think he pardoned himself or anybody in his family. So if he's brought up on charges, he brought up on charges. He's gonna have to defend himself. He's gonna have to lawyer up, you know.
Man, I'm
So
I'm pretty sure he
that
puts.
that is one thing I was interested in seeing. Like, he didn't pardon himself. So
Nah, he probably got something waiting in the wind for the day that he's indicted or for the day he's brought up on charges. He definitely got something waiting in the wind. He got some wicked plan waiting. So I'm interested to see, man. I
if
just at this point,
he doesn't think that he's going to jail.
come
Yeah,
on,
but
man.
that ain't crossed his mind. He
Come on.
like jail, me? Nah.
Yeah, I think as far as him like pardoning, all of those guys. I think he got like a thing for celebrity. So I think Larry and Jeff and Big Meech and them guys, they was a little, that was like my boy Circle 7 said, that's too much power to set free. But, Lil Wayne, Kodak
Yep.
Black, that's a whole different ball game you're dealing with. So, hey, man, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the inauguration. Again, shout out to everybody out there who's tuned in, locked in to Inauguration Day. Whether you are happy to see the end of Donald Trump's reign, you're happy to see the beginning of the Biden-Harris era, or whether you're somewhere in between, or whether you just don't care at all like me and just, like I said, I'm going to continue to aspire higher and hold myself accountable and continue to push forward. So that's where I am with this whole day. But, yeah, I did tune in. I was locked in early. I just wanted to see the same old, same old. Like I said, it feels like every speech is the same. That whole setup, them being sworn in and all of that. It's like, yeah, same old
Hand
thing.
on the Bible, and
Yeah, man,
you see
yeah.
that big old Bible Joe Biden had. What was that? The first edition
Yeah, the
Bible
Bible
that
that's
they
been in
pulled out for Joe Biden.
the family edition Bible. I think it's been around since 1893 or something.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
of course I know you saw the Obamas and Michelle Obama getting out looking like $1,000,000.
yeah. Michelle,
Whatever you got to say about them, they look good.
Oh no, Michelle definitely came out there on business, man. The ladies had it cracking on the coach side, man. Everybody was fitted up today, and I will give them credit for that. I had my eyes on something else. I wasn't really tuned in to the narrative that was being displayed, but it is what it is, man. So I don't want to talk about that no more. We here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, sports wise. How I want to kick it off though, man. We got a lot to talk about, but it's been cracking in
Hey,
the.
Gene,
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, lead the way. I'm riding with you today, bro.
No, it's been cracking in the baseball world so far, man. I mean, we haven't talked about the last time, the last move the White Sox made and locking up the reliever from the Oakland A's.
Yes, sir.
Theo taking on the reins with Major League Baseball. John Lester going to just a whole bunch. But we got to start it off. We got to kick it off with this Jared Porter case, man.
Yes, sir.
Now. First of all,
Oh, Jared Porter.
Oh, Jared Porter. First of all, man, you guys gotta be able. Hold on, let me get T back on. Let me get T back on. What? 1 second, guys. 1 second. I got him, Jared. There we go. Hold on. Let me. Hold on, T. There we go. You there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I just want to say something to all of my guys out there, man. You gotta be more player, man. you gotta be more player, man. We've seen this. This ain't the first time and this ain't the last time that these type of situations are gonna arise. I mean, we probably know a few of our guys who are non-player who've been caught under the act like Jared Porter. But when you're an executive, when you hold a high position like this, you have to know that all eyes are on you at all times, man. And if you're gonna be under the act like that, then you just gotta be player. But I feel like when you sending women text messages, man, and when you send her one and you send her two, and when she doesn't reply on the third one,
Bruh.
keep it moving, bro. You got to keep it moving, man. You can't be sending meat pictures and you can't be sending non-player texts after that. You gotta get the hint initially and continue to keep it moving. But in the case of Jared Porter, man, and that being on the Cubs watch,
Whew.
man, look.
Listen, when you read the story and you got the details that this man was basically bombarding her with, like, what he sent 40 unanswered texts,
60
unanswered texts before he sent the meat. Yeah, I mean, and that's totally unacceptable. And honestly, and then when you continue to read the story, you see how it affected this reporter,
Mm-hmm.
where she ended up leaving the industry, going back to her home country. Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of tragic, because this dude, in the meantime, got a GM job, one of the best GM jobs in the league. And it took her having to revisit the situation in order to blow the top off, of the situation. But geez, I feel like it's like you said, man. This when you look at this dude, it don't look like he got a player bone in his body.
At all.
I mean, so but then at work too, though, bro. This dude is doing it at work to people that he's gonna see in a professional setting. And I don't know what be crossing these dudes' minds, man.
You know how you can, man. You use it as a position of power, man. Probably thinking she probably thought that well, she said it. She just thought it was casual, which I'm pretty sure she had an inkling that Buddy was under the act, but she was like, you know what? Let me try it out. Maybe y'all guys ain't the same, but he was using it as a position of power. Probably told her was gonna let her move up in the ranks, or if she was what was she? She was just a reporter.
She was just a reporter, and Gino, I know you probably did the same thing because we were around in 2016. We were around every day in 2016. So for to just to be in a position to run those names through my mind, I feel totally bad for this person. You know what I mean? It's like, man, we probably rubbed elbows with this person that was dealing with that. You know?
I'm sure we ran. I'm sure we crossed paths at least once or twice. And then when I look at Jared Porter, I'm like, yeah, I saw this guy plenty of times. And like you said, he definitely doesn't look like he has a player bone in his body. But again, when you're an executive like that, or when you're in a position of power, then you can use that, as a crutch. And I'm pretty sure he was probably going to, give us some extra access or whatever viability he could, whatever possible situation he could put her in to make her feel like she was plugged in more than he was going to do that just so he could get a piece of
Mm-hmm.
the action. But again, man, it's crazy. Like you said, she just quit the whole game, totally went back to her home country, got into finance. She just
Yeah.
really, it was really just a sour apple. It was just a sour taste left in her mouth. And I feel like it was on the Cubs' watch. And you got to think back then, they were already on the hook for the signing of Aroldis Chapman, who had just came off a 30-game suspension for domestic violence. Then we got the whole Addison Russell case. So
Mm-hmm.
these guys, they were already on the hook for their PR was already on the fence. So when you hear about something like this going on and they're watching, then Julian Green and the team came out with that quote yesterday, it was like, that was a bunch of fluff, guys. You guys were
Mm-hmm.
definitely supposed to do more of a character evaluation,
Yes.
investigation on these guys.
Yes.
And I feel like now, with everything that's going on with the team right now, I feel like this is not the time for something like that to come back under their watch. And now they're going to be, the fans and Cubs Nation are already hot at the things that transpired over this winter break. And now,
Mm-hmm.
with Kyle Schwarber signing to the Washington Nationals, and then John Lester just signing a deal with the Washington Nationals. Then
Mm-hmm.
Jose Quintana just signing a 1-year
With the
deal with
Angels.
the Angels with Joe Madden. And if you see, they
Mm-hmm.
all got something in common. The Washington Nationals manager is Davey Martinez, who was an assistant coach on that World Series team. So I feel like the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing with John Lester was just another smack in the face of probably, if not the biggest signing in Chicago sports history,
Without
free
question.
agency.
Without
I,
question.
I mean, he signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Nationals, man. This is a guy who totally turned the franchise around, helped turn the franchise around. He's 7 wins from 200. To sign a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Nationals, I'm pretty sure he would have signed for less to stay here with the Cubs. But at the end, that just shows me that, the Cubs are playing cheap again. We know they're supposedly over $1 billion in debt. You know, whether that's true or not, it's like, hey, man, you got a baseball team. You're one of the largest markets in America. You got to act like it. And John Lester, I'm pretty sure he would have loved to get his 200th win as a Chicago Cub.
He
And
should
again,
have. That's what should have been happening.
The man would have taken a pay cut if he signed a 1-year, $4 million deal. The Cubs had every right to make a counter offer, and they didn't. And I don't know if that was, Jed Hoyer. And I'm pretty sure it didn't have anything to do with Jed. I'm pretty sure that was like ownership telling him that, no, we're not allowing Jed to make a counter offer. We're trying to cut as much salary as possible. Thanks, John Lester, for your time and what you meant to the franchise and to the fan base. But, man, you got to keep it moving, man.
I was told, I was disappointed that, not only did Joe, I'm thinking John Lester is getting ready to retire, but then he goes sign a contract with the Angels that completely makes you look at the Cubs like, what are y'all doing? Like, why isn't John Lester still on the Cubs? And so what I then think is that this is a team that's completely committed to rebuilding. I mean, it's not about being loyal right now. These dudes are stripping it down to build it back up. And when you're doing that, I mean, you can't count on us, giving you an olive branch. It's like, oh yeah, thank you, John Lester, but peace. I mean, so on that end, I understand. I'm totally looking at the Cubs like they're one of the teams rebuilding in the league right now. So no, I'm not. I'm not in on the talk that they're trying to win a division or are still trying to win a division. I think by the time we get to uh to opening day, this is going to be a completely different looking Cubs team. It could be a couple more players gone. It's still rumblings of Wilson Contreras being gone. Still rumblings of KB being on the block, and we'll see what happens. I mean, they still need pitching. They've let 3 rotation guys go or 4 because Tyler Chatwood is gone too, right? And I feel like he had his best year as a Cub last year.
Yep.
But other than that, honestly, Gino, I'm hung up on the fact I'm reading this. I just read that Cubs statement, man, and they're playing the classic. Oh, we didn't know, and it was years ago at this point. Kind of response, bro, and that's totally irresponsible for an organization like the Cubs, man. Like, what do you mean that it flew under your radar? When this dude was going back and forth with this reporter on like legally, are you going to sue me kind of thing for years?
And then she said she brought it up to a Cubs employee, and then he tried to play the middle. You saw his quotes. The whole thing is just a fiasco, man. There's just no way that those guys didn't know what was going on. Somebody knew what was going on. They probably just swept it under the rug because they had more important things that were going on. They were trying to make sure that they got that window in. They signed Chapman. They wanted to make sure they could get that World Series ring in 2016, which they did accomplish. But at the same time, you ruined a woman who, had her foot in the door and was looking to spread her wings and couldn't because you had this non-player who, was in a position of power and tried to abuse it.
And then look what's happened to him. Like, I'm sure there's nothing he can say that's like, was it worth it, fam? You were the GM for a week, and at his press conference, he said it was his dream job. All of that is done. He almost certainly won't ever be back in the MLB again. So, good riddance to fam.
Yeah, good riddance to him, man. And I'm happy to on the baseball side. I'm happy that John Lester is getting a chance to get his 200th win. I think it's dope that he gets to go to Washington. Shout out to Davey Martinez for bringing him in.
Yeah.
But then, he gets to join a starting rotation with Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Corbin. That's a top-notch rotation over there. So I'm pretty sure John Lester, who's a guy who's probably on, not probably, he's definitely on his last maybe year or two A guy who's probably lost a lot of velocity, but he definitely hasn't lost the will and the heart and the know-how to pitch in the major leagues. And I feel like, he can definitely shore up the back end of that starting rotation. And I'm looking forward to him getting his 200th win as a Washington National, because he is a guy who, throughout his career, he's been quality, and your best ability is availability, and he's one of those guys who, in a 162 game season, he's gonna make his 30 starts. So hopefully everything resumes to normal. We get 162 games next year, and John Lester gets win number 200, man.
Absolutely. I'm tripping because the loudest helicopter I've ever heard just flew past the crib. I don't know if y'all heard that,
Oh, I heard it
but
loud and clear. You in the hundreds, man. That ain't
yeah, that
that's not abnormal.
the table started to shake. It was crazy, but I agree with you, Gino. You know what I mean? You know how I feel about John Lester. Uh, if it's a big game to be had, I want him a part of it in some kind of way. And if a team like the Nationals can squeeze the very last drop out of John Lester, because you were a pitcher, you know how it is. You know what I mean? You're not going to put down the ball until you absolutely have to.
CC Sabathia style, till my arm is
Yeah,
about to fall off.
exactly. So I'm totally not surprised to see him go ahead and kick the tires and say, no, I'm not hanging him up just yet. And like you said, he's in a rotation where I feel like what his responsibilities are going to be is going to be enough for him to handle for a part of the season. You know that they'll probably start him slow, and he'll be ready for the playoffs, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah,
um, but no, I'm excited. You know what I mean? I'm going to be keeping an eye on John Lester, man.
well, now as far as the Cubs are concerned, what are their next moves? I mean, we saw last week they avoided arbitration with Javi, KB, Willie, somebody else. I think they still Ian Happ. I think he's the last guy left standing. But I agree with you, man. I definitely think that this is a team that's totally in rebuild mode. You can call it retool mode, because, like we continue to say, the NL Central is whack, and I still think they'll be able to compete. But is that where we've fallen to? Just competing and trying to win win a title in a lackluster division? I mean, if that's where we are, then yeah, bust this whole thing down. Continue to be cheap. Continue to charge the highest ticket price in Major League Baseball. Continue to slap the fans in the face, and man, I guess Cubs fans will continue to, get these guys out of debt. They done ran up a marquee sports network that people got to pay to watch baseball. It's been a Travis Sham mockery the last couple years for my favorite baseball franchise. And I'm not sure. Tom Ricketts is a cool guy. We kicked it with him at the World Series, popped some champagne, always shows his time, walks around the ballpark, chopping it up with the fans. He's always available. But I'm not sure if those guys really know what they've gotten themselves into, man. Again,
Hmm.
my favorite saying, man, they done turned Wrigleyville into Rickettsville. And I'm not sure if that was the best thing for them, because, again, they're claiming they're billions of dollars in debt, and who's supposed to get them out of it? It's like we see, with all the salary cuts, getting out of $60 million for the next 3 years from Yu Darvish, cutting like $10 million from Kyle Schwarber, not re-signing John Lester, not re-signing Jose Quintana, cutting hundreds of jobs in the front office. It's just a whole debacle going on with this franchise, and I'm really not sure what's next, man. So I'm with
Gino,
you.
man, are these dudes going back to being the lovable losers? Is that too much? Before you answer, I know my big brother is watching, so he knows that about 30 games through the 60 game season, I started to feel, I'm like, hey man, the Cubs may be closer to their next rebuild than their next championship, and here we are And now I got to ask the question: Are these dudes knocking on the door of being the lovable losers again?
Well,
Is that the bottom?
it
Is that around the corner for the Cubs?
I don't necessarily think lovable losers. I don't see like a 70, 50, whatever they were before Theo got here. With what were they, 60 and 102 or whatever? I don't necessarily see that, but I also don't see a team that can win 90 games. And I mean, like you said, is this what we've been relegated to? Are we going back to just being able to compete? I don't think that's what Cubs fans, with the whole just everything that started from the time Joe Madden and from the time Theo got here into the signing of Joe Madden and everything that's gone on since. I do not think that this is where Cubs Nation thought they would be right now. But, that's why we're fans. That's why we're media. And that's why we're on the outside looking in. And that's why those guys wear the suits, give out the contracts, and make the big money. So, man, I just think Theo got out at the right time. He saw the smoke coming. He got out at the right time, left Jed, on his own. And I think Jed is a great guy. I think he's a good guy for the position he has, but he's been handicapped from the jump. And I'm interested to see where he can take this thing. But it's all going to stem from what goes on from this time to spring training to the start of the season, maybe to the trade deadline, because I definitely think that Wilson Contreras and Chris Bryant will not be a part of this team by the end of the trade deadline.
That is so crazy to me. I mean, it's like if you get rid of Wilson Contreras and KB, how do you replace those guys? I mean, I understand, yeah, behind the scenes they have a plan.
Do
Well,
they?
well, if you get rid of uh, KB and Wilson Contreras, even if the plan is just to get rid of some dollars or save money, then I'm looking at that as a huge move in a plan. Hopefully, I hope you're just not trading them just because.
Trying to, I
Yeah,
guess it would probably be along the lines of the Yu Darvish trade, cutting money, but also trying to rebuild the farm system, which means rebuilding the organization as a whole.
and if that's the case, there's no telling when these guys are going to be good again.
Mm.
I I remember the White Sox did that. What was that? The White Sox won it in 2005, and so around 2007, 2008, it was rebuild time. You know what I mean, Ozzy was on his way out the door. They were getting ready to bring in Robin Ventura and try to rebuild the farm system. And they swung and missed on so many prospects, bro. Diane Visaido, um, and you can go down the line. Alexi Ramirez. The only guys that really hit. Remember Carlos Quentin. You know
Of
what I mean?
course, of course.
The only guys that really hit in that time span, bro, were Chris Sale and Jose Quintana, and they had to trade those guys in order to get the Yohan Moncadas and the Tim Andersons and everybody and Eloy and everybody. And let me add Jose Abreu to one of the guys that hit. So
Right.
after you win that championship and you get, to a point where your team is feeling like they got to rebuild, it is really no way to accurately pinpoint the timeline. It could be 10 years, bro. It could be 10 years before you're talking about another seriously contending Cubs team. When you start talking about, oh, it's time to rebuild the farm system.
Well, to Cubs Nation out there, the time has come. I don't, again, Mr. Ricketts and the Ricketts family. I don't know what you guys have going on. What plan you have up your sleeve? I keep seeing this $1 billion debt, but you guys need to do something because I'm not sure how long Cubs Nation can deal with another however many years of disappointment and just frustration. And I see that coming, especially when you talk about one of the best catchers in baseball being on the trade block. When you talk about Chris Bryant being in trade talks, you know, just doesn't look good going forward, brother. So Theo got out of there right in time. Theo has taken on a new position with Major League Baseball, and I see this as a seamless transition for Theo to become the next Major League Baseball commissioner. Shout out to Rob Manfred, but his time is coming to an end.
100%. And you got to tip your cap to Theo, who always seems like he's ahead of the game, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's always like, what does this man have up his sleeve? And we see now it's running the whole damn league, And I honestly feel like who better than Theo Epstein, who I feel like everywhere he's been able to go, from Boston to Chicago, he's been able to impact it in a legendary way. The man is a living legend when it comes to baseball executives. Like in my time span, I'm only 31 years old. You've seen more baseball than me, but I can't think of an executive in any sport that has the golden touch that Theo Epstein has. And I feel like the only reasonable place for him to go is to be commissioner of the league. And if you listen, to sports radio, you hear all kind of crazy stuff. I heard a couple of weeks ago, more than a few fans hoping that Theo Epstein could find a way to get hold of the Bears and rebuild a football team. That is how people revere him. It doesn't really matter where he goes. People knows that wherever he goes, something good is going to happen. So yeah, and consider the fact that the guy that's running the league right now is a complete airhead. You're waiting for the day that Theo Epstein is able to jump in and take over things, and we can actually start seeing some things that I feel like could help this sport grow. Could see the sport, kind of be reinvigorated, because I feel like it's needed. I was young in 2000 when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, put the fun back in the league. And I remember it vaguely. The home run race was cool, but I feel like MLB is kind of in a similar place right now. Like they need a spark. They need something that's going to get this sport more exciting for the younger generation. And Theo Epstein may be the perfect guy for the job.
I think Theo is definitely the perfect guy for the job. He's extremely calculated, and he definitely stays a couple steps ahead of the curve. And if there is a guy who can help Major League Baseball grow in a much needed way, then I think he's at the forefront of that. And man, I'm interested to see just how much leverage and leeway Theo has as a Major League Baseball executive now. I'm pretty sure Rob Manfred is going to give him the keys and let him make a lot of key decisions as far as those things go. So shout out to Theo, and I'm pretty sure he has ownership in his vision somewhere down the line, but maybe he wants to let his kids go to college or finish high school or live a family life before you can fully commit back to a position like that. So
hey, but and I feel like we've seen coaches and executives in that position before, and when that phone rings and that job, that mission gets presented to you, it's hard to say no.
No, that's real. That's real. Did you I think we need to take a break, but before we take the break, man, did you see Doug Glanville's article?
I did, about it being time for more black managers, but right now it's not going to be him, right?
Yeah, I thought that was great. I've had a chance to be on a couple podcasts with Doug. We always run into Doug at Wrigley Field.
Great dude.
Doug is a very good dude, man. I was happy to see him pin that joint yesterday. He's right. I mean, it's the same old story. Of course, there need to be more black managers. I think there may be two, maybe just one. Is Dusty the only black man?
Dusty in Houston, yep.
Come on, man. And Dusty, they signed Dusty up because Buddy got caught cheating. So they had
exactly.
They hired Dusty on a whim, and this is a guy who's been revered throughout his career as a player and as a manager. So I agree 100%.
Dusty's been around the game for 50 years.
Come on, man. So what Doug Glanville penned yesterday, if you guys haven't seen it, go to Google, type in Doug Glanville. I'm pretty sure it'll pop up and read exactly what he had to say. It was an interesting read. Doug is great with the pen, but I would love to see people's reactions to it and what they thought about Doug. But man, let's take a break, T. When we come back from the break, I know you want to talk NBA. We still haven't talked about the James Harden trade, Kyrie Irving back in the building, a lot of other things going on in the NBA. The Bulls got a W over the Houston Rockets Monday. Dame Lillard then lost Yusef Nurkic. Now C.J. McCollum is out. There's a lot of things going on in the league, man, that we need to talk about. So let's take a break, come back on the other side, and let's get into this NBA talk. You feel me?
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
do you believe that God's going to turn it around?
I got to.
Why?
Why? Because he's did it before.
Come on.
And he'll do it again.
Yes.
That you can do it again.
Yes. Come on here.
Come on, I better leave that alone.
Somebody calling you right now.
Somebody calling you right now, Lord. If it ain't one thing, I better go. God's going to turn it around.
And I feel like we have to encourage the people because so many people are just truly depressed. They're going through the holiday blues, and we want you to know that you don't have to be discouraged. But you can, in fact, be encouraged because God's going to turn it around.
Turn it around. It's me again. God's gonna turn it around. I'm calling on you. You did it before.
What's good? You back down on the soil rocking with the bigs on What's in It for the Black People Media.
This is it. Day one. The red letter edition. Big Luda. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. Before I finish breathing, I'm moving the masses like minister speeches, penning classics as I finish my thesis. Not a pastor or a preacher, my passion is deeper. Rapper / teacher, trying to master the teachings past the sinister streets and moving bags past the police is speeding fast in the evening. The truth is it's all about eating, but I'm feeding food for thought for those either fasting or feasting. Putting faith in my beliefs when I'm speaking, looking straight till I'm decent at peace with no fear, believing it's real. I tell them it's heaven, but it's hard when you talking to niggas with no ears. From clouds of chronic coughing and sessions off, walking and stressing, straight lost in the essence. I pause for a second with my thoughts and reflections. I take my losses as lessons, but it's all just a blessing, and that's the mess. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah, it's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah, we can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah, it's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me. In an instant, friendship seeing quick in the music business. It used to be just music, now it's just business. The relentless pursuit for loot, dividends and interest, hidden agendas, leaving you defenseless against them. Not to mention intentions to benefit from you penning authentic sentences. Shit for the spinach, niggas that did it. Listen, while you scribbling, picturing images of living on premises, surrounded by fences and different women in silky linens, bending and grinning, intended rentals, you slipping, cause these VIX is out, tricking your chips in. The game's cutthroat, rules was laid back in the day before rappers got paid by sponsors that slung dope. And shit ain't really changed beside the amount of change the game. Famous names so these lames can front. So I Change the game, see my future through the blunt smoke. So high, looking at my future through the blunt smoke. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah, it's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah, we can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah, it's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, I'm invincible, guarded by two identical, invisible guardian angels that guard every angle of my physical frame. Spiritual miniature ministers whispering, keeping me on the top of my game. Lessons to gain, pleasure and pain. Like my eyes, they reside on the left and right side of my brain. Quietly praying, navigating my aspirations, passing calculated statements while I'm grabbing my flame. Wasted in the basement, pacing, placing words on pages, blazing my merch to the face. I'm blowing life in the air. I sold my soul to the Lord for a price of a prayer. Yeah, so my nights can be clear when I sit still, writing his will in his likeness, like him, cause I'm knowing he'll save me. He told me to spit and don't let the devil take the gifts that he gave me. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah, it's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah, we can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah, it's not a song. I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me.
You are back down on the soil, rocking with the brothers. I am Eugene McIntosh, one half of the illest independent sports media outlet in the whole entire land. I got my player partner, T-Tom the Great, checking in with me live on location. Man,
yes, sir.
That was the great Mick Luter. Rotate with me. One of the, you already know, man. I gotta give my boy Mick, gotta give him props every time one of the tracks pop up. One of the top 5 lyricists in Chicago hip hop history, man. I'm giving Mick his flowers while he's still here, man.
No, you know that's how I know we back on the soil. I need that Mick coming through my headphones, especially while I'm away for a second. I need that, you know.
No doubt, man. It's like fuel for the whip, man. You get charged up off that Mick, man. But shout out to everybody that's on the soil with the brothers, man. Whether you watching on Facebook, whether you tuned in on Periscope, YouTube, Instagram, whatever social media outlet of your choice, you are locked in with the brothers. We are more than appreciative to have you guys here. But before we continue, man, I got to let y'all know the rules, man. We need y'all to smash that like button, smash that share button, hit the comments, join the conversation, help us continue to push our content forward, help us continue to push the culture forward, and help us continue to make What's in It for the Black People Media the hottest black everything going on right now, man. It's more than a black voice over here, man. We're black owners. We own the black voices, not a black voice on a white-owned platform. This is a black voice. These are black voices on a black-owned platform, and we are going to continue to do what we do, man, and not give up. It's a crucial time, especially with change going on right now. It's a crucial time in America and in the world where more black voices are needed, and we need to control our own narrative. So that's what we're doing over here at the What's in It for the Black People Media family. Shout out to Maze Jackson and the Maze Jackson Show, the Book of Dawn, Milwaukee Hills World, the what's Tennille, the Black Business Network.
Minding your black
business. I said what I said. Man, just a lot of new content popping up around the family, man. So I'm excited to see what 2021 brings. But you know the bigs, man, we on the soil, and we're going to continue to give the people what they want and what they need.
Absolutely, man. It's more important than ever that you share this, man. You go ahead and hit that share button, hit that like button, and definitely we got a new one for you. We need you to go ahead and share the What's in It for the Black People Media page, the new location for the daily broadcast from What's in It for the Black People Media. Tell a friend that this is where you need to be from 6 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. at night, and we're adding to the lineup. You guys already know coming up right after us is our brothers Toussaint and Herb. What I said, But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we need y'all right here locked in on the West End for the Black People Media page. But on the soil, come get your sports fix, man. Like Gino said, we are the illest independent sports media outlet in the land. Been doing this since 2015. Credentialed with all of your favorite teams in the city, man. Bringing you coverage that erases the middleman. You know what I mean? My man Gino, I saw the Denzel Valentine quote, man, even in this COVID world where virtually is really all we have, man, we still trying to find ways to bring you exclusive reporting from an authentic source, man. So, like I said, man, thank y'all for tuning in. But it's more important than ever that you share what's going on, what's in it for the Black People Media, man. We want to continue to push this forward and get our voices out there.
No, that's real, man. That's 100% real. And you spoke on the Denzel Valentine quote that I got from the other day. The Bulls got another win. And what was it, 125 to
Yeah.
120 or 125 to 120 win over the Houston Rockets Monday night, Martin Luther King Day. They weren't part of the national schedule, but they did have a chance to play on King Day, and they came out with a win. Denzel Valentine was one of, I think, 7 Bulls to score in double figures. I think he had
Yes,
13 and 8, shot 3 of 6 from the 3. And has basically been showing his worth. You know, last year he was in the doghouse with Jim Boylan. They didn't really see eye to eye. Denzel felt like he should be getting more time, you know, especially with the unique skill set that he has. Jim Boylan just didn't see use and fit for the whatever it was he was trying to accomplish as Bulls head coach, which, you know, he didn't really accomplish much. So I asked Denzel, you know, we talked to Denzel before training camp, and you know, we asked him about Billy Donovan and AK and Mark Eversley and those guys, and he said he really hadn't gotten a chance to you know, talk to Billy Donovan much, and he was looking forward to it. So now that they're basically a month into the season and these guys have a good feel for each other, I asked him after his good game the other day, you know, how has his relationship been and how has it formed with Billy Donovan, and what's Billy's you know, his message been to him for his role as a, you know, one of the guys on the bench mob. And it was funny because he said that, you know, he got hurt right before training camp started, and he felt like he was completely healthy coming in. And, you know, that setback kind of set him 2 weeks behind. And ever since then, he's been playing catch up. So, you know, Billy didn't really get a chance to see exactly what he had, you know, but I see a lot of people talking about Denzel sucks and he shouldn't be in the league and this and that and this and that. And that's cool. Everybody has their opinion. But when you're a Tom Izzo disciple, there's absolutely no way that you do not know how to play the game of basketball. I think most of the guys that come out of Michigan State under the Tom Izzo tutelage are guys with a high IQ. They may not necessarily be the most athletic. I mean, we see guys like Draymond Green and Denzel Valentine. Well, you got a guy like Gary Harris who's athletic and shoot the three, is a great defender. But all of those guys are very high IQ players, and they know how to play the game. So I think Denzel, you know, like he said, he's been playing catch-up, but he's had a chance to build with Billy. And I think Billy has done a great job of knowing how to use Denzel and not, you know, relegating him to being just a three-point shooter. He can handle the ball. He can make plays. He can shoot the ball. He's probably the best three-point shooter. I mean, Zach LaVine has been in a zone this year, but I think overall Denzel is probably the best three-point shooter on the Bulls, and I feel like Billy Donovan has done a great job putting him in position and giving him the minutes needed off the bench, especially when they're shorthanded with this whole COVID situation affecting, you know, the everyday lineup. I think Billy's done a great job of implementing Denzel into the offense and just a more free-flowing offense all around for the team. So, I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, they beat the Dallas Mavericks twice. The first time they didn't have Luka in the lineup. The second time they had Luka and Porzingis in the lineup, but didn't have the next 6 best players. So regardless of who's in the lineup, who you facing that night, you face who's on the court. And the Bulls are pulling off W's, man. At this point, I think we said the Bulls may have 2, maybe 3 wins at the most at this point, but they're now, what, 6 and 8?
6 and 8, yep.
So, hey man, I'm happy to see the guys performing. Billy's definitely gotten his point across, and they're playing much better than I thought. But the offense looks much more crisp. They're moving the ball around. When you see 7 guys in double figures, that was something Billy said. He said that was something he came into the season with. Like, man, if you can get 5 or 6 guys every night in double figures, then that's conducive to a winning lifestyle. And even though they do have a losing record right now, I like the way that the guys are playing. I like where they're headed. And shout out to Zach LaVine for being that guy, being that leader. Because you saw his quote this morning. He says, "Man, I read what people say. I hear what people say, and I think I'm a top guy in the league, and I'm gonna continue to show people that I'm a top guy in the league."
You know what? I love to hear that from Zach because I feel like he's totally taking his game to the next level. But I feel like, okay, here's what I want to say. They say that you're only as fast as your slowest man, right? I love how the bottom of this roster has kind of taken, the floor is not as low as it was the last couple of years. Guys like Denzel Valentine, and Daniel Gafford, Archie, those dudes have a real role on this team and are impacting this team in a positive way. On the topic of Denzel Valentine, excuse me, we've always said that all he needs is a solid spot in a rotation and more time, and we're seeing that that's the case. When it comes to Denzel, he's definitely one of the top shooters on this team, up there with Laurie. And we got to tip our cap to what Laurie is doing from the 3-point line. I think he's 50% of his shots are coming from behind the 3-point line, and he's shooting 45% from three. So Laurie is getting it in from three, but Denzel Valentine is showing you what he's always wanted to show you is that it's no fear when he gets out there on the court. He feels comfortable, and now it looks like he has the backing from his coach to be himself on the court.
Yeah.
And that's I feel like that's only going to allow good things happen throughout the entire roster. So yes, Denzel Valentine is playing well, but so are the other bench players, man. Daniel Gafford, Garrett Temple, Thaddeus Young, who's just super solid. Those guys are really, fulfilling their roles, and it's starting to turn into W's, which nobody's gonna be able to argue with it once they get if they're able to stay around that 500 level for most of the year.
And I think the thing you mentioned about the back end of the lineup with guys like Archie and Denzel and Daniel Gafford and some of the other guys, Adam McCoker even sometimes getting a little tick.
Yep.
I mean, that's
Yep.
all. That all goes. It all plays into, this whole COVID situation with not knowing who's going to be available night in and night out. Sato's been out, Laurie's been out. All the guys. Contract year Otto has been out with back problems. Garrett Temple has been a great signing so far. So I think all of those guys, their roles are being defined by, just not knowing what to expect on a nightly basis. So, the saying, man, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I think that's something that Billy has held these guys accountable to is, practicing hard. When you practice hard, it translates to the court, to the to game situations, and they come out. I haven't seen too many games where the Bulls come out lackluster from the start. They usually start off hot. They take big leads into the second half, and I've seen 1 or 2 games, specifically the Oklahoma City game, where they got up to a 20-point lead and had flashbacks to the Jim Boylan era where they kind of just folded and gave up the lead and ended up losing the game. But for the most part, they've given 100% effort the whole time. And, again, shout out to Zach LaVine for being the lead guy. I think Kobe White is still trying to find himself.
He is.
I saw something the other night when he was 0-for-6 and didn't score that night. He came right back after the game, and he was getting shots up, on the United Center floor. And, That showed me a little something, man. Getting that extra work in, you can always fine tune yourself, and when you feel like you didn't give your team everything that you could have given them, then coming back, after the game and putting more work in, it shows, a type of leadership, and it shows some character that I'm pretty sure the guys in the locker room probably saw Kobe, and it's gonna be a trickle down effect, and that that it carries over, man. So shout out again to Billy Donovan and Mark Eversley and Arturas Karnasovas for coming in, defining an identity from the jump, and the guys buying in and giving 100% effort. But the schedule's only gonna get tougher from here. Again, not knowing who's going to be available on a nightly basis is something that the guys are probably never get used to. But, again, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So, coming up, when's the next game? Friday against Charlotte, I think?
Friday in Charlotte, then Saturday back home versus the Lakers.
Yeah. So, there are no easy nights in the NBA anyway. If you show up to the game and you feel like, you can take that other team for granted because they may have a 3-8 record, then you're going to come out and you're going to get your head bust. So, again, that's something that I haven't seen the Bulls do. I see them come out with a concerted effort every night, and it's great to see. I have to say that, they're playing much better than I expected, and I want to give a shout-out to those guys for showing and proving and making me, eat my words for now. But there's always room for improvement. And, shout out to Laurie, too. I'm going to drop something with some quotes from Laurie. I talked to Billy Donovan about him and about his aggressiveness and what Billy thought was the key to Laurie's success so far this year. So, me, T, I said for Laurie this year, I wanted to see 20-8, 45% from the field, at least 38 to 39% from three. And I'm not sure about his stats so far, but he's held his own outside of a couple, bad nights, which most guys in the league are going to have. The first game he came back from being out for the COVID protocol, he didn't have a good game. But the last two have been steady. And you saw him hit the big shot the other night against Houston. So I'm pretty sure Laurie is playing with some extra incentive, man, not being, not getting that contract extension, feeling like, he has to show and prove. And
exactly.
Show his worth, and I'm happy that Laurie is showing what he's really got, what he's made of.
I'm really impressed with how the Bulls come out on a nightly basis on both sides of the floor, Joe. I feel like when this year started, I wasn't even considering the fact that they could improve on defense. But about 20 games in, the effort is there, man. Guys like Zach LaVine, who are completely not known for their effort on defense, is showing you that he's not a trash defensive player, man. But the one issue that I still have, and I said it last episode, is that point guard, bruh. The Bulls have to find a way to put their point guard problems behind them. I know in the group chat with the guys, we call it the curse of Rose. We know how it went down with Rose, and they've been really waiting for a point guard ever since. And don't let me mention that he may be available.
No.
He may be available, and I'm just saying the Bulls need a point guard. I'm just saying, but I feel like once they solve that issue, whether it's making a move, reshuffling the rotation when they get the roster a little bit more healthy, I feel like these guys could be even better.
So when you say shuffling the rotation, what do you mean? Throwing Sato in to start at the one?
Yeah, and you know how I feel. I'm not saying that Sato is a starter, but I feel like in terms of this roster and how it's made up, you got to put Kobe in that 6-man position and let him score off the bench. And for what we just said, Billy Donovan looks like he is the type of coach that is going to put you in your role. And I know that he's trying Kobe at point guard because I feel like he has to. He couldn't make a decision. He had to see Kobe in this starting point guard role. And he struggled. But at the same time, I feel like you can obviously see the talent You can see the ability with Kobe. I don't think that you need to wash your hands with Kobe, but I totally feel like his most natural role is a scoring role off the bench in a Jamal Crawford kind of mode where he can get you 15, 20 off the bench, you
Right.
know?
Right. No, I feel you. I feel you on that. And me and Laurice, me and Reese, we talk about Sato. You know, Sato is like the regular. Sato is like he's like regulation at everything. Sato is not gonna make too many mistakes on the court. Sato is a good ball handler. He's a
Yep.
good shooter. He's 6'6", so he can get in there and rebound. He's a high IQ guy. So I do think that if Billy Donovan inserted Sato into the starting lineup, it would be a much different Sato than we saw in the starting lineup under the Jim Boylan Act. So that's interesting that you said that, because I do think that, you know, taking the strain of Kobe being the starting point guard, that I just think that name, point guard, I think it holds a lot of weight to it. And I think Kobe's trying to live up to that name instead of just doing what he's naturally gifted at, and that's scoring the ball and then making plays when they come. So that's an interesting thing. We might have to bring that to Billy's attention and see if that's a possibility. But I see a lot of people when we in the groups or on Facebook or Twitter or social media, I see a lot of guys talking about Jalen Brunson would be a perfect fit for the Bulls. And I think Jalen Brunson would be, especially under the Point Guard Act. I think he's one of those guys. I mean, the Chris Pauls and the Rajon Rondos, you know, those two guys are like the last of the Mohicans as far as that type of point guard goes. But I do think a guy like Jalen Brunson is like a hybrid, you know, guy like that. He can put points
Yeah.
on the board. He can shoot the three. He ran a great team at Villanova, and I think it's translated to him in Dallas. But I think with Luka being in Dallas and being in control most of the time, I think Jalen Brunson would be a good fit for the Bulls. Now I'm not sure what type of it wouldn't necessarily need to be some huge trade package to get Jalen Brunson, but
Exactly.
I
That's
think that.
why I instantly like it.
Mm, so
You know
you
what I mean?
like
I
Jalen
don't,
Brunson?
man, I like Jalen Brunson. You know, first of all, of course, we've had a chance to see him throughout his whole career. You know, going back to his high school days. But even what I've seen from him in Dallas, I low key had to do a double take. I'm like, is that JJ Barrett? And not just because of his stature, but because of how he was controlling the offense. Like you said, he's a very smart player. You know what I mean? And it's translated early in his career. And I think instantly he would be the best point guard on the Bulls. Am I tweaking?
No, I think so too. I think Jalen Brunson would instantly be the Bulls' starting point guard, and I think that he would be a perfect guy to help if we are gonna keep Zach LaVine. And you know, Zach is on the verge of, you know, taking that, ascending to that next level. I think Jalen Brunson can definitely help Zach with that, you know, because I think was the last thing that, and I'm not gonna necessarily say that Zach suffers from, because he's not suffering, but I mean, when you want the ball in your best player's hands when the game is on the line, or just throughout the game, and I think sometimes Zach gets caught up in having the ball in his hands and not necessarily being a natural playmaker. You know, sometimes, you know, he can score with the best of them. So I'm pretty sure sometimes he doesn't just want to come down. Maybe he may have an open shot, but sometimes, you know, he may feel like, man, let me try to get, you know, Wendell off a pick and roll. Let me try to get him a 15-footer. Let me try to hit Laurie coming off the pick. And sometimes that's just not Zach's strength. So sometimes he'll end up turning the ball over, making a silly mistake. And I think that's what comes back to haunt the Bulls late in the game. So if you can add a guy like Jalen Brunson, who is tight with the ball, tight with the grip, obviously his dad, you know, Rick Brunson, you know, made many years in the league. I think that would be a good move for the Bulls, going forward. And I see the Rook in the comments saying Jalen Brunson, but no Rose. Hey, man, I'm not saying Jalen Brunson is better than D. Rose. I just don't want D. Rose back in the Chicago Bulls uniform. I want him to go somewhere where he can flourish and go play for a ring. If D. Rose is true to what he said to us, he said that his next and last and final move, he said he's accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish as an NBA player. The last thing he wanted was to win a championship. And ain't no championship coming no time soon in Chicago. So I do not – the next time I want to see D. Rose in Chicago is when his jersey is being hoisted up to the rafters with Scottie Pipp, Big Mike, and Jerry Sloan and Bob Love and whoever else is up there, man.
Man, and I feel like it's just the politics that surround, Derrick Rose when it comes to the Bulls. It would be more than basketball if he, and if he one day ended up coming back to the Bulls. Now, I feel like it's a whole different conversation if you want to talk about what his role is in Detroit and why he needs to find a way, some way, somehow, to get off of the Pistons and onto a team that's actually playing some meaningful basketball, because I just get the sense that he's is it because I know that it's just he's hooping for a different reason of it. I know he's comfortable in Detroit. I know he's a loyal dude, and there's people in the Detroit Pistons front office that he's tied to, and that's who Derrick Rose is as a man. You know what I mean? That's who he is as a man. But as a basketball player, he is. It is not time for him to be the elder statesman on a team and raise your young guys. This man needs to be helping a team either win a championship or be knocking on the door of a playoff. He needs to be on some type of playoff caliber team. And the Pistons are definitely not that. And I'm begging the basketball guys. Like, you've put us through everything. You put us through everything with this man, Rose. Please don't let him waste the rest of his career away on the Detroit Pistons. Come on.
No, I think this
Rose deserves better.
I think this is definitely his last run as a Detroit Piston, whether it's, trade deadline going to a playoff team or a contender, or regardless. Again, like you said, he's a loyal guy. We know that he has ties to Arn Tellem and those guys. But I'm with you 100%, man. This is definitely not the time for him to be the elder statesman and to raise Killian Hayes, which I think was cool because Killian Hayes is definitely the next in line to, run the Detroit Pistons. So I think that was just a natural role for him to take, being that guy on the Pistons for now. But I think there are bigger things in Rose's future for his last hurrah in the league. But again,
and I feel my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Man, I say that, as far as Rose being the elder statement, but if you look at, the Pistons Instagram, man, you see the way that he's kicking it with the young guys. I mean, it's like, man, at the same time, I know Rose is great for those kids over there. I mean, he's if we're saying it's not time for Rose to be a elder statesman, that's not how he's acting. He's completely embraced it with those young guys. He's been out to the restaurants. He's off the court in the community with the kids. I mean, this. I guess it speaks to the man that he is again. But it's all, Gino. It's always going to be a part of me that wants him back on the soil at the United Center, putting on for us. I mean, directly. So,
man, we just gonna have to get Rose on the soil, man. We're gonna let him have to tell the people for himself what his next moves are. Let's just leave it at that. Let's let Rose tell the people.
Because like Rook said, it is some basketball reasons for this man to be on the Bulls, though. So,
well, y'all can hide that. I don't want to see Rose ever in a Bulls uniform ever again until his number is going up to the rafters. But on another note, the three-headed monster in Brooklyn, man, what you think?
You know what? I said before the season started that I wasn't in favor of the big three formula anymore. until James Harden got traded to the Nets, though. I mean, I can't front, G. I'm completely excited for the three-head monster to be in full form whenever Kyrie Irving gets back on the court, which looks like it could be their next game. I have him on my fantasy team, and I know that when we flip the kickoff kickback to more of an NBA focused presentation, we're gonna be talking about fantasy and basketball. And Kyrie Irving has hurt my fantasy team, but in real life, I respect what Kyrie has been on. I respect that the team has given him his space to be away. And now I'm just saying that he is going to play tonight. And for the first time, Kyrie, Harden, and KD will be together. Gee, I can't wait, Joe. I'm rolling up for that one. I can't wait to see James Harden and KD and Kyrie play together. And if you just look at the two games that James Harden and KD have played, it's like, come on, who's gonna beat these dudes? And we had the conversation with Scoop to preview the season, and we talked about how difficult it's going to be for the Nets to put together a championship season. But what I think we've seen so far is that KD don't even look like he had an Achilles injury. Kyrie is Kyrie. Whenever whenever he's coming back tonight, he's a walking 25, 30, even with James Harden and KD on the court. And then when you look at James Harden and you consider this man, he's getting triple doubles that actually matter. You know what I mean? We talked a lot about Russell Westbrook and how it's empty stats. This man, James Harden, is a supreme playmaker, bro. You know what I mean? And he's getting the others on the Nets involved early. I love what I see. And he's still dropping 34, 35, bro. I think this may be one of the most exciting big threes that we've had, and that's remembering how crazy the LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh big three was. Like, I feel like they had it at all facets of the game. Like they had LeBron and D Wade playmakers and could play in your backcourt. They had LeBron who could pretty much play everywhere, and then they had Chris Bosh down low. When you look at Kyrie, James Harden, and KD and what they're able to do offensively, bro, I don't know who can mess with this.
So where does the sacrifice come from?
It may have to come from Kyrie. It may have to come from Kyrie because James Harden is gonna cut into 50% of those ball handling duties, and you already know how much Kyrie loves to handle the ball. He's not your typical point guard. You know what I mean? He's one of those, okay, I can do it myself, new age style point guards. I think that if it's a sacrifice to be had, it's gonna have to come from Kyrie. But I feel like he's the level of player that he's going to adapt fast. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he goes from a 30 and 10 10 assist kind of player to maybe a 20 and 10, 15 and 10. Is that too drastic, you think?
No, I don't think, because there's only one ball on the court, bro. And I think the most important thing is going to be, like Shaq always says, it's about the others. It's about the others, man. You can't forget about Joe Harris, because as much as so obviously it's Kevin Durant's team. James Harden is the extreme playmaker, but he can still get 30 with ease. And Kyrie Irving can get 32, but he's the point guard. So we've never really seen Kyrie Irving not play without the ball. We've never seen James Harden really not play without the ball. I mean, KD is KD. I think KD is the most gifted, player in the league right now. So I don't think the sacrifice is in KD. Like, I never see KD pressing. I never see him pressing for shots. Like, he can score 30 on 15 shots with ease. His efficiency is, he's very efficient. I think I agree with you. I do think the sacrifice is going to have to come more from Kyrie than anything, but I think it's going to take a minute. And we talked about this with Scoop before James Harden got there. So now that James Harden is there, it's championship or bust for Brooklyn right now. And I think even though back then we said Steve Nash had the hardest job in all the sports, I think his job has gotten even tougher now with the addition of James Harden, because it's going to be interesting, because regardless of how these things play out, when you get to playoff basketball, it comes down to three things: defense, rebounding, and turnovers. And without DeAndre Jordan, when DeAndre Jordan has to sit, those guys are going to be really small. And if you have a tough front court, those guys can be taken advantage of. Now, they can score with the best of them. They'll probably be able to put up 130 with no problem. But at the end of the day, defense and rebounding and turnovers are the key to winning an NBA championship. And James Harden, he does get triple-doubles with ease, but he also turns the ball over at a high clip. Again, Kyrie Irving is not used to not playing without the ball. It all sounds good when you come to the press with it about sacrificing, but when you get on the court and have to see how it works out, then it's a whole different ball game. So I'm with you, T. I'm definitely interested, and I'm charged up to see just how impactful, the big three in Brooklyn can be. And I just think it's championship or bust with those guys right now.
How do you think that Steve Nash, first of all, how do you think he's doing as a coach? Do you think that he's in a situation where his role is minimized, or do you think his role is more important than ever with those three caliber players on the team now?
I think for now, I mean, who knows? The season just started. He got two of the top. It's crazy that you can probably say two teams have four of the top five players in the league: LeBron and AD, and James Harden and KD. So it's much easier as a coach when you have an extension of yourself on the court. You see KD, when he's not in the game, when he's on the sidelines and they call a timeout, he's the first one up off the bench, and he's up in the huddle like he's Steve Nash, and Steve Nash is looking at KD like, yeah, you right, man, let's do that. So I think right now it's been a small sample size to be able to tell the effect that Steve Nash has had on the Brooklyn Nets, but now going to the middle of the season and coming down later in the season into the playoff standings and where they're going to be seated in the playoffs, I think that's when we'll be able to tell, the effect that Steve Nash has. And I still think that, him being not too far removed from the league and still being able to have that edge in him, I think that plays into what the Brooklyn Nets do as a whole, and it's conducive to who they are. So I still think that, him being able to have to manage those personalities as well. We see what goes on the court, but we cover the Chicago Bulls. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the Brooklyn Nets and what's going on in that locker room and who's saying what and who's not getting along. So I just think maintaining a balance, with those other guys. Don't forget about Jeff Green. Don't forget about Joe Harris. Don't forget about DeAndre Jordan. Don't forget about whoever else they got, over there coming off the Oak, who are going to be essential coming down the stretch. Guys getting in foul trouble. With this whole COVID situation, we don't know who's going to be available on a nightly basis. So
huge point. That's a huge point.
Yeah, man. So I want to see the sacrifice from Kyrie. I want to see the sacrifice from James Harden. I think it's natural in KD being the extreme talent that he is. I think he doesn't have an issue, not necessarily taking a back seat, but letting the game flow. We've watched him for 12 going on 13 years now, and he's been one of the smoothest sailors in the NBA. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it starts tonight, man. So I'll definitely be tuned in with you. And
man.
Championship or bust in Brooklyn, bro.
I feel like it's championship or bust for just the fact that this man, James Harden, put on a fat suit and was acting like he was 20 pounds overweight in Houston just to get out of there. And now this man is looking like the happiest man on the face of the earth in Brooklyn. So I feel like yes, the mission is definitely championship or bust. Just I look at the rest of the East, and I don't think Milwaukee is going to be able to handle Brooklyn. Um, who else? Who else is in the East right now?
Philly.
Philly. Philly is like you said, dealing with all those COVID situations, bruh. Like every time I look up, they're missing a handful of players.
Yeah.
Joe, and all that means is that you're putting probably more miles than you want to on Joel Embiid, who already is having some nagging injuries over there. So, man, it's gonna be an interesting second half of the season. I know it's crazy to say that because we're not even close to the second half of the season yet, but when everything gets rolling, I'm definitely gonna be watching a lot of Brooklyn Nets basketball for sure.
Then we go to the Western Conference, and you see what my boy, you see the cards my boy Dame's been dealt.
Dog.
Yusef Nurkic goes out with the broken wrist last week. Then C.J. McCollum goes out a couple days ago with
A hairline
the
fracture,
hairline
right?
fracture and the foot sprain. So
Terrible, bro.
yeah,
I actually saw you tweet that at 7. It was like 7 in the morning. And I was like, is that Gino tweeting that right now? Because I didn't see the game the night before. And I'm like, hold on. This man CJ done broke some. I'm like, this
yeah,
man Dame cannot catch a break.
he when Nurkic went down, Dame tweeted it's
And he
always
broke his
something.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he broke his wrist reaching in trying to knock the ball away from somebody. He immediately ran to the locker room, came back, X-rays positive, broken wrist. So he's out for at least 8 to 10 weeks. Then the game, I forgot who they were playing. Who were they playing? It wasn't the Spurs. Who was it they were playing? Because I was watching that game.
Were they
Whoever it
playing the
was.
Thunder or the Kings or something like that?
No, it wasn't the Kings. Who was it, man? I can't remember, but CJ was getting buckets, went down, came down into the lane, threw up a floater, came down. His foot actually, it went the opposite way. So when he came down on whoever's foot it was, his foot went in instead of out.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you twist your ankle, it goes like out. His went in. But the crazy thing was he kept playing and he was getting buckets. And then when they went into halftime, and when they came back from halftime, Rodney Hood was in the lineup. And, the report came back that CJ had a hairline fracture and, he was going to be out for who knows how long. So, Dame can never catch a break. But, this is a sign. This is what leaders go through, man. I like the quote that he I think it was maybe like 2018 or 2017, and they talked about, it was back then when something was going on with the Blazers, and they were asking Dame about feeling the pressure of, coming through for Portland and winning an NBA championship, and he was like, man, this ain't pressure, bro. He was like, pressure is the lady who can't feed her family. Pressure is the guy who don't have a crib to go to. Pressure is not knowing where your next meal is going to come from. You talking about putting a basketball in a hoop. Come on, man, this ain't pressure. So I think that's go ahead.
Yeah, man, real talk. That's why I love Portland, because CJ had pretty much the same comments. When he was talking about his injury, when I went and looked at it, he was saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna be fine."
Right.
He like it's not the worst thing in the world. There's people going through worse things, but now, and I tell you all the time, man. If it's one player that I want to see kind of move on, it's Dame.
It ain't happening, bro.
It's like, and it's and if he was to come out and say like Deshaun Watson, not that I'm disgruntled, but almost like a KG situation where it's like, man, Portland needs to find a way to do him a solid and get him into another situation, because when you ask yourself the question, can Portland build a championship team while Dame is at his height? And I don't know, man. It's like that. It's like the Minnesota question. It's like, man, who's going to come here to play with Dame, man? And if it's not about rings, then cool. but I would love to see Dame in Boston with Jason Tatum. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? And just and something like that where he can really be a prime time player because we spent a lot of time talking about Dame versus Steph. I feel like we have to see Dame on a real stage in order to go ahead and in that debate because Steph is doing his thing this year. He does have Golden State on his shoulders right now. And he's showing that he's a transcendent player, but I still want to see Dame with the bright lights.
Well, wish on, brother. I mean, I'm with you, man. I mean, we know, going back to the Portland days with Clyde Drexler. I mean, they were a formidable opponent in the Western Conference. So, when you make it to the Western Conference Finals and when you make it to the NBA Finals, then that takes your stock and your market up a notch. So I think Portland will always be that small market team. But I mean, Dame has done all he can do, man. I mean, he's just one of those guys who's going to continue to play with the cards he's dealt, and I don't necessarily think that he would ever ask for an out. I mean, it's still, I wouldn't say early in his career because he's 30, but he says it every year, man. He's a loyal guy. Portland took a chance on a kid from Oakland who wasn't a high recruit coming out of high school and wasn't a high recruit coming out of college, so he feels like he owes them a solid. But they showed him the money. They showed him a $300 million, and again, man, winning the championship is definitely, it's the top of the mountain. That's what every NBA player is shooting for. But if you do the knowledge, probably 85% of NBA players do not have an NBA championship ring. And, I mean, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, the list goes on and on of NBA greats and Hall of Famers who did not win a championship. And, of course, I would love to see Dame get a ring because that takes you into another stratosphere. But, again, winning the ring, man, not winning the ring, it's not the end of the world. It's about what you do for your family, what you do, who you inspire, and the person and the character that you have. And I think Dame is definitely one of the high-character guys in the league. And that stands out more to me than anything. But, yeah, I'm with you, man. If somehow Portland wanted to do him a solid and he was up with it and he could get on the squad with Jason Tatum, I think that would be completely nasty.
I think so too, man. And I got my fingers crossed for it because Dame deserves it. I mean, I agree with you when it comes to the rings. But until you retire, you got to do whatever you can to get one,
Not whatever, man. Not whatever, man. Not whatever. No clicking up, man. I would love to see him get some aid and assistance out there in Portland. You never know. You never know, man. Just take this thing one day at a time. But, hey, man, no CJ, no Nurkic. I'm still going to be tuned in on a nightly basis. And, man, I think Dame can put Portland on his back, and I still think that they can be a playoff team until CJ and Nurkic come back. Who knows how they're going to be when they return from injury. But regardless, I'm going to be tuned in, and Dame is going to continue to be my favorite guy in the league outside of D-Rose and continue to be a high-character guy and, somebody future point guards and, guys who want to have a lengthy NBA career can look up to and model, their career after. So, man, with that being said, brother, I think we got Two and Herb waiting in the wings for I Said What I Said, intellectual thuggery from 3 to 6 today, finest. Man. I got to be tuned in. We got to tune in and show the brother some love, man.
No, it's a must. I'm definitely keeping it tuned right here if I said what I said. It's funny because they're going to be starting their show as Kamala Harris is walking into the White House for the first time. So I'm looking forward to the episode today for sure.
Yeah, I know they got a lot to say about it, man. So everybody that's on the soil with the brothers, man, we appreciate you guys rocking out with the bigs today. We will be back on Friday afternoon from 1 to 3. Again, like we said, up next, we got the brothers, cousin Two, our kickoff, kickback brother Herb Howard. I Said What I Said, intellectual thuggery, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media. For my boy T. Tom the Great, I am Eugene McIntosh. We are the bigs. You have rocked on the soil with the brothers. Until Friday, shout out to our boy Jared back there doing all the hard work, making sure that everything is pristine behind the scenes. Man, we'll see you guys Friday. Until then, show love, spread love, stay away from the haters, but always, 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 always keep it player, man.
Yes, sir. Till next time, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah, hey yo, it's crazy how life is a stage. Basically, I was raised in these mazes, named the streets, for players of reputations. Faithfully, make G's with more cake pastries than bakeries. Deal with equations ranging from A to Z. Touch more bricks than masons, serving like maitre d's. Pitching like we in the major leagues. Occasionally blazing bees, seeking that painful peace amongst a parade of fiends afraid to sleep. Dazed and deranged, losing days of Z's. That's why my old girl prayed for me every day, cause I'm faded like tapers at the table, G. I can't take it, I can't wait to escape and leave, cause this basement is no place to stay for me. But I believe I'm the creator, I create the scenes that can't be seen just by the way I think and breathe. Time and the place in this game of life where you gotta decide your fate or pay the price. Let the voice inside you guide you. My main advice is never change your life, just change your life. There comes a time and a place in this game of life where you gotta decide your fate or pay the price. Let the voice inside you guide you. My main advice is never change your life, just change your life. In high school, she was average, mostly C's and D's. Same shit, now she high too, mostly off C and D. Now I have my loot clothes, CDs and DVDs. Easily these things could leave, cause she a sneaky thief, trust me. Always fussing, starting shit, I hear her. Arguments with the mirror regarding her appearance, her health declines thusly. First her mind, then abruptly she finds herself mumbling all the time to herself. Trying to find herself by dealers that sell. Insecure, still in a shell, killing herself. And as long as she been blowing, it never seems to soak in. When she has convulsion, shivering like she cold. And my cousins ask me where they moms be. I'ma tell her my auntie on the concrete, walking dead like zombies. Time and the place in this game of life where you gotta decide your fate or pay the price. Let the voice inside you guide you. My main advice is never change your life, just change your life. There comes a time and a place in this game of life where you gotta decide your fate or pay the price. Let the voice inside you guide you. My main advice is never change your life, just change your life. I've been debating on rearranging my life. I'm at a different stage of the game in my life. This is why I listen when I'm praying at night for answers to the questions that I'm stressing to fight. Lord knows the fortune is a goal, but I'm not forcing my soul to be sold between the forks in the road in order to blow. What can I leave beside my corpse when I'm gone? And my CDs with assortments of songs. The course I chose.